Christopher, welcome today. We are so interested in the journey that brings people to where they are in this field. So, everybody has a story. Can you share yours? What experience or challenge has shaped you and brought you to this point?
I mean, my entire journey has been shaped more or less by taking risk, experiencing failure, and failing forward. I've been in this space for quite a while, going on 20 years at this point. And in order to get where I've gotten, I've had to take risks and fail in that. And I don't just mean from a business perspective, but relationships, life. I think that's the beauty of the entrepreneurial journey in so many ways is that to me, entrepreneurship is really the greatest personal growth mechanism that exists. It puts you in touch with yourself consistently. And so when I think of my journey, I reflect back on these moments that were the most painful moments in my entire life at the time. And yet, what they have done is proven to be the most powerful moments of time that ever existed in my life. So, whether that was the day I got sober in my early 20s, which was the worst day of my life at the time, to my entire life really falling apart in sobriety as an entrepreneur in 2019 and rebuilding out of that. A loss of a business, loss of relationship, loss of a parent, all within a very truncated timeline and just consistently finding that ability to bounce back to that state of equilibrium and say, okay, like what have we learned out of this? And how do we continue to really move forward, having experienced a lot of really painful moments along the way?
Yeah. If you look at those, you've named a number, but if you were to look back on kind of pivotal moments, is there one in particular that really launched the kind of the leader you've become?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I intellectually understood what I wanted to do in business over 10 years ago. I had these concepts that I really understood from reading and from experiencing different organizations and things like the strongest asset of any business is the people. And culture is really what drives organizations. And the most profitable businesses are those that are happy businesses. And I knew so many of these different ideas, and yet I had no idea how to execute them. And so in 2015, I had started a company in my hometown in Northern Virginia, bringing very needed behavioral healthcare back to my hometown where there was just a significant gap. And I was young, I was immature, I was inexperienced, I was barely 30 at the time. And vision only can take you so far without really understanding the intricacies and the implications of the decisions we make on a daily basis. And so by 2019, I had ruined the relationships with four partners. Two of
Mm.
them I had known for 20 years. I walked into a meeting with my partners on a Monday morning, and they told me, get the fuck out of here and don't come back. And at that time, the business was suffering, of course, because when that kind of internal turmoil is occurring within an organization, it trickles down. No matter if people can speak to it, it trickles down everywhere. So the business was struggling. We were over leveraged. We had grown too quickly. My partners were basically saying, get out of this business because of the way that you're acting and behaving as a part of as the CEO of this company. And that was the beginning of kind of everything falling apart in many ways. Like I sold the company, but barely got out from under it in a sense. I lost investor capital, and these investors were the people that I spend Christmas with. They were friends, they were family, they were very close to me. And what that really did in hindsight, looking back, was it stripped away all of the narratives. It stripped away the ego. It stripped away so much of the, like, I know what's best. And so I reflect back and think like that was the moment that began this shift into curiosity and asking questions and growth from the perspective of having to ask better questions and take the next step forward. And so, yes, this process of losing a company that I loved, losing friends and family, money, losing a relationship in the process because I was working 80, 90-hour weeks and no capability to be present in a relationship. And then to lose my father all within about a 4-month time period, it stripped away everything. And that's a really uncomfortable situation for anybody that's ever been there. Said it was like my midlife I don't love the word crisis, but I'll say like chrysalis. I heard a better term for that, which I really like. And that was at 35. And then that's what really has propelled me into the journey over the last 7 years is, hey, you've got these concepts up here and in here, but yet how do you really implement and build from that perspective of wisdom and expertise and knowledge and skill, not just idea and vision?
Yeah. Well, leadership itself can be kind of an isolating experiment if done well. Because if you're protecting culture, you have to kind of keep things close to the chest and finding somebody at your level to be able to speak to, it's kind of hard. It's isolating. What do you do to combat that loneliness?
My wife said something to me years ago, and it hits home as it relates to this question, which is she called me the most hyper independent individual she's ever met. And I was like, oh, like that's amazing. And she looked at me and she said, that's not a compliment. You have learned, right, through, again, everything you've experienced in life and growth and this, to really be able to function in a way that is disconnected from others, which was really not healthy. It was one of these moments where I went, whoa. And so I'm now in my third startup that I'm leading. And the prior two was always, right? Like no one understands me, no one gets me. And as I reflected on this question a little bit, it's part of my own journey to create that experience, which is like nobody gets it. And yet, what I find is that's a way for me to stay disconnected from other people that actually truly do understand the isolation and the loneliness that exists as a CEO. I have found, of course, in this venture coming together with amazing partners who really operate on the same playing field as I do, but are so much smarter than me. So I'm finally in that room surrounded by people that are all smarter than me, which is like a life goal that many people talk about. And I've gotten there, which is amazing. However, what I notice is that ability to sit and to really dive into big vision and moral ambition. And a lot of that does require a little bit different of a room for me. And so I've gone through iterations over the years of belonging to different communities. Two different communities I belong to have been extremely helpful during my journey that are with other thinkers like me. And now what I'm really seeking as we've just gotten this new company up off the ground is actually deeper and more meaningful relationships with others in the field. And I think what I experienced as a youngin in the field, and I can say that now, there weren't a lot of people that were really looking to provide mentorship and guidance to a lot of the young folks 15, 20 years ago when I got into the space. And I look now and think there are so many people doing things that are aspirational to me that have built lives that I want to continue to aspire to. And so what I've really started the process of is in a way trying to curate more meaningful relationships with folks that do build businesses like this and do have a life, more importantly, that I want than anything. And so I think my journey really over the next couple of years is going to be to establish these bonds and connections on a far more deep and meaningful level with other folks like yourself. And again, there are a few folks I can name where as they talk and as their experience really comes to the forefront that I go, you know what, like this is really the moment in time to take my own growth to the next level in relationship with others.
Hmm. If you were going to give one piece of advice to somebody starting in behavioral healthcare, in healthcare, what would it be and why?
Oh, there's so many, as you know, at this VW. The longer you do this, the more taglines come to mind. For me, it might be too simple to say, but I have to really come back to why on a consistent basis. I think for me, it was too surface level early on to say, I just want to help people that are struggling. Right. And what I really had to get to and what I have now deemed this ambition that I have is really rooted in the idea of serving the masses, not the few, being able to care for people that have been thrown away. Right. So I've had to continue to like iterate on my why, because at the end of the day, the work that we do is hard. It's emotional. So the why is a big piece. The other is I can't carry your water. So it took me 10 years to really get this idea that I can't save somebody's life, right? I can't change their life in this way. All I can really do is create the environment that allows them, right? So I can walk with people, but I can't do it for them. And whether that's employees, whether that's clients, whatever it is. And so I think I always probably go back to my number one piece of advice is really go deep into the why behind why we want to do the work that we're doing. I think it's the thing that continues to drive me, but it also keeps me going in the places of uncertainty and unknown and chaos and everything else that ensues in this beautiful thing called life.
Christopher Bennett, you've got some scar tissue that shows in beautiful ways and experience that is valuable to many. Thank you very much.